Hello! Today we're doing something different, or kinda, we're not doing it completely different. Last video was my recap on Rally Estonia for 2025, but that video ended up being like 22 minutes long because I just was going over every little thing that went in the rally, and it's like, that's a bit much, no one has the attention span for that. So what we're doing this time is just going to focus on drivers simply and shortly and make sure we get all the information in a much more condensed package. So today I'm going to say, I haven't said a thing yet. NGR stands for Nathaniel Goes Recapping Rally Finland 2025. Let's go. The rally starts on Thursday on the Aventure stage? How can you say that? I think it's how you say it, Aventure. And it started off quite expected / unexpected because we saw Oitanak's run in Estonia and Gravel Rally before it. So him being on the podium, leading the rally for the start of that, for the first stage, is not a surprise to anyone. So we go in with Nervo and Ogier behind him, and all is normal. But then we go to Friday, and things change a lot. So we have Katsuta in first on the second stage, which is a surprise to a lot of people, and Robert second. Now, that's a bit of a surprise, and I'm going to move on to that now. Aventure hasn't had the best season on gravel. We saw him in Canarius on tarmac absolutely dominate, but on gravel he's not had it right with the hand hooks at all. The tyres have been something that he has struggled to gel with, and now he's doing well in Estonia. There's hope again, and that hope is well received by him and also by his team, because he goes on to just keep on winning stages. He goes on to just stay in the lead, and it's a confidence we haven't seen in Aventure on these hand hooks the whole season. And it may have been a mix of losing the hybrid and then also switching tyres that has modelled him up that he can't drive as well as he used to, his championship form. But it seems like we're getting that back now. In Finland, he was very dominant, and he had Adrian Formeau and Jerry Nervo on his trail most of the time, and he never faltered. He kept it up, thankfully, and that's good to see. Next, we go on to Takamoto Katsuta. As I said, he was leading on the second stage, but he did fall back behind Aventure. But Katsuta's also had a middling season, I'll say, because he's shown glimpses of pace, but he hasn't really shown the consistency to go with it, like I was talking about with Solberg last week. And we've been waiting to see Katsuta really use his pace to the best of his ability, and we finally see that in Finland this year, where he was up with Aventure, only a few seconds behind, but still up there with him and keeping it consistent. And he didn't crash, he didn't make any major mistakes, and he showed that he finally has the pace and the consistency, at least here in Finland. So we'll see what goes on for the next rally, but it's a very good thing to see that Katsuta is now coming into his own and pushing properly without ending up in a ditch. Next person I want to talk about is Jerry Nervo, because he was up there for a lot of the rally, in third and second, pushing Katsuta and his teammate Formeau. Jerry Nervo had his chance finally to get back into the championship fight. He's last year's champion, but he hasn't really shown the pace again to be this year's champion. But him in second behind Aventure was showing that he had it. He finally was getting used to the car, and he finally had the pace to keep going. And I felt quite bad for him when he was having puncher fiascos again on the third day. Punches. We heard it in Sardinia, and he was heated. And I made fun of him last time, but now I can't even make fun of him anymore because it was so peak. I hold my hands up, I'm at that peak. And it wasn't just him that it happened to, it was also Formeau who was battling for third and fourth with Katsuta and Sebastian Ogier. And the fact that it happened on two of the young guys at the same time the same stage. In fact, it just shows that it's not the tires anymore, but it also might not even be the drivers. In my mind, I've started to think that, because we saw in Sardinia, Neville, wrong French-speaking country, Neville was struggling a lot with punctures, and we saw the heated clip. I'll play that here.
It's a puncture. But how? Yeah, okay, it's a puncture. But how much of an issue is it going to be only having the softs for the next two?
And when multiple punctures happening on the same car, when no one else is really struggling with punctures, and then it happens on 2 different cars on the same stage, unless there was some kind of rock that was just hidden and no one saw it and only the Hyundais hit it, because even Tanak didn't hit it, he never had a puncture, he had many other problems we'll talk about later. When that same thing is happening over and over, you have to think, is it a tyre issue? No, because everyone else is fine, the Toyotas are fine, the Fords are fine. Is it a driver issue? Yes, I could attribute to it, but maybe that's the case in Sardinia, but for 2 drivers to have the same problem on the same stage, I'm not sure if it's a driver issue. So then that only leads on to it being the car. Now, there's certain aspects when you're tuning suspension and geometry and stuff that will lead to high tire wear and stuff. You may have extra camber, your toe may be out or something like that. And maybe the way Hyundai is setting up their cars for gravel is what lead into the extra tire use and then the punctures, because if there's a certain way that you're going straight but your tires kind of pushing outwards due to toe, yes, that may be good on the corners, but maybe it causes extra wear on certain patches of your tires, and that may be why. As an example, I have zero clue what Hyundai running. I'm running a game, but as Hyundai going on with these problems, I start to think, maybe it's an issue that's caused by them themselves, but then they need to fix for the next few rallies, because setup, I'm pointing towards setup being the problem for Hyundai. And on Hyundai, let's move on to Aventure for Mo, who was also up in contention for podium placing, but then he got hit with punctures. And I feel so bad for him at this point, because he has pace, and it's either the car lets him down or he loses his head. Or the car lets him down, then he loses his head and then crashes out. And I was a big fan of him while he was at Ford, and I kind of wish he stayed at Ford, but people move on and stuff. But it's just a bad situation for him to be in. And where does he go from here? Because he has the pace, and then he hits a puncture. When he has the pace, but then he doesn't have consistency, he then crashes out. And he starts to think, well, should I be here anymore? And thankfully, from what I've been hearing from Dirtfish and other sources, is that he's having worked with therapists that helps him keep his learn how to keep his head during these situations, and hopefully he can use that to stay in the chase for a good ending in the championship. So that's most of the Hyundai's taken care of, and I've missed out the runner-up from last rally, which is Tanak. Now, Tanak, of course, started the first day in the lead, but then dropped back over Friday, and Tanak looked like he was gonna win this. There was a high chance he could, because he did so well in Estonia. It's more fast gravel. It's just a lot like Finland's a lot like Estonia when it comes to the gravel courses. And when you think about it like that, then you start to think, oh, Solberg's not here this rally. He doesn't really have as much competition as he should. But Tanak was struggling on the opening day, and as in the proper opening day. I don't count Thursdays most of the time as opening days. They're like a special stage, super special stage as I call them. But Tanak didn't do as well as he should have, and that then led to a crash, which caused radiator damage because he basically, I think he hit a house or something like that, or he hit a tree straight on, and that caused radiator damage, which meant he had to keep the car moving. So when he got to a stop control at the end of a stage, he was very, very, very quick to try and move off from stewards, and he ended up hitting one of them. Yeah, he hit a steward. They weren't badly injured, from what I heard, but that then landed him a 5-minute penalty. So he's out of contention for this whole rally at that point, because you can't come back from 5 minutes. This isn't old WRC where we have like 30-minute gaps between people and stuff like that. This is seconds we're playing with most of the time for rally gaps, so you can't come back from that. So that is all points for Tanak gone, and he came into Finland leading the championship, and now he's lost it all. Well, not lost it all, he's like third, because third or fourth, one of the two, I'll check in a sec. But when you look at it like that, you feel so bad for him, but you kind of have to keep consistency. If you're leading a championship, you can't let everything go to waste from there. It's like Elvin Evans, I'll move on to him. He had a good rally, he kept it consistent, and when you think about it like that, then it doesn't seem all too bad, because Evans kept it together, he kept it clean, and he kept himself in the dry. Evans has had a great season in my mind, because he won 2 rallies early in the season and then has had to keep starting each rally, but then he hasn't dropped down the order too far. He kept himself up until last rally where Tanak was able to pass him in the championship, but now he's back in the running. Well, he never left the running, and I have to commend him for that. He finished 4th, which is quite good for someone that was starting quite high up on the first day. And with that, we can be led on to Sebastian Ogier, who decided to come back for Finland, which I don't think he was actually supposed to, but he ended up just choosing to come back anyway. And he came in 3rd. He kind of had like a middling rally. He wasn't doing anything spectacular. So, for those who don't know, Sebastian Ogier is one of the scariest drivers around when it comes to the WRC circuit currently. He is the 8-time world champion, leveling with Sebastian Loeb in the amount of championships they've won. And so, him now returning, he is saying that he's also added after Finland that he is going for the championship, aka he's going for his 9th championship. You can see where that's a bit of an issue, because he's now got the drive to carry on. Basically, for the time he's been doing this part-time season, he's been doing it for fun. But now, and he's been winning for fun. Now he seems like an actual threat because he's actually trying, and this is where we have some problems, because this is the best way I can put Sebastian Ogier into other terms is talking about Zaraki Kempachi from Bleach. Kempachi limits himself in so many different ways just so fights are fun. This is Sebastian Ogier is Kempachi unraveled. No restrictions, no nothing. And I'm scared because I want Elvin Evans to win. He's like Thierry Neuville last year. He's been so close, but hasn't been. He just needed that small amount more to get to it. But now he is got some serious competition in Ogier. His own teammate, yes, but still serious competition. It's looking a bit techie for him. But yeah, because when you think about it, Sebastian has the car, the skills, and the mindset now to win this whole thing. The Toyota is scarily fast and also scarily reliable. It doesn't break that often. And you can't use it like during a real or a talent where they say, oh, the car can break at any point, because the Hyundais aren't that reliable. Because and that with the loss of that variable makes the whole thing so much scarier, because it means that Elvin Evans can win at any point, Callum Comparo can win at any point, and Sebastian Ogier can win at any point. Hey, you know what? Jones might bring in Sebastian Loeb back just to make everything more scary. So I'm scared for how this title fight is gonna go, because it just may be that Sebastian comes back in and just sweeps the floor with absolutely everyone. But I'm gonna keep it at that, because I don't want this rant to get too long. Next we'll move on to the Fords. So with the Fords, we have Josh McElwain topping them at the end of the rally, with Martin Sex next, and then Gregor Monster after that. The Ford camp is a young core, so Gregor Monster, Josh McElwain, and Martin Sex are all under like 26. So it's a very young core, and they're kind of developing in that way. But it's an odd situation, because a lot of the time people are thinking about their performances, and I'm thinking about it as well as a Ford fan, and we're wishing for more. Martin Sesk showed such potential in Latvia last year, and I was hoping that would carry on. A lot of others were, and they're kind of disappointed we're not seeing all of that pace from last year. But we see glimpses of it, but we don't see consistency. It's like what I was saying about Tackling to get Suter. He has the pace, but he's not consistent, and it just seems to be a lot of that in the whole of the Ford camp, because they're winning stages, but they're not consistently winning stages, and you don't see the best of them currently. The thing is with Ford M Sport, they're not completely manufacturer backed, so unlike the Toyota and Hyundai teams, so their drivers have to then pay for them to hold them, sort out their cars and stuff like that, mechanics and all that. So these are basically customer driven cars. So there's less of a case of people being dropped from M Sport, but you start to think when they may not have that risk of being dropped, but when are they gonna start acting like they're the new breed for WRC? Because if I remember correctly, Gregor Monster is backed by Jordan Sideris, the Greek driver, who comes in every now and then for M Sport, and then Martin Sesk is backed by Safety Culture by a long part, and then other sponsors, and then Josh McElwain is Motorsport Ireland backed. So they're all bringing in money to M Sport for them to then have their drives, but it just seems like it's starting to get a bit slow for them, because they are always at the bottom of the pack and very rarely up there. The only time that they've not been at the complete bottom of the 21 pack for this rally was because Tanak had that massive penalty that I talked about earlier, and it's just, I just can't wait to see. I want them to start leveling up for these next few rallies, because the only time I can think they may have a chance is for Saudi Arabia, because that'd be quite a tough rally. It'd be a lot like Kenya in my mind, hopefully. That maybe that could bring them up a bit, because Hyundai may have some more reliability problems there. But I don't really see any other time frame for them to get chances to be higher up in the positioning, unless they find the consistency to use their pace properly. Because from what their team boss is saying, Rich Milner, he's saying that they have the pace. The cars are fast enough, it's just that they're not using it themselves. If you can't extract the pace, it's gonna be a problem, because you now have your team boss saying there's the pace, you have to use it, and then you have further scrutinizers from the media and people like me saying, well, you have the pace in the car, so you have to utilize it. You've been in the car long enough now, because a lot of the time people were saying from McElwain and Sesk, less for Monster, that they don't have time in the car. But now they have had the time in the car, and they're still not really improving as much. And I'm going back to Sesk, because he set the bar for himself very high, and we've not seen much of it since. But yeah, Martin, this is a message for you. Can we get a few more stage wins? Like, just can we get a bit higher up the pack? I know you have it in you, So could you do it, please? But anyway, I think that's the whole of the Rally 1 lot. I wasn't really paying attention to Rally 2 this week. I just didn't feel like it. Well, I did feel like it, but just like, right, the main focus right now is Rally 1, so we need to keep that in mind. And I think I'm gonna end this off just saying we have a very tight race coming up, and I can't wait to see what unfolds. And with that, that's about it. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. We should have I have 3 or so videos in the works. They should be coming out in a few weeks, depending on how much rally content comes out for that. And I shall see you when I see you. This is me signing off. Goodbye.